You can refurbish or repack with grease pretty much any pulley that's in your car that has a bearing to it. Most of the times this thing will have two seals to them, and these are metallic with some rubber on them. And you need to remove them on both sides, not just one side, both of them. It's a bit tricky. First time maybe it's good to try on something that you don't really need to see how it goes. Basically what I did is this sits in there, it's snapped in place, and I did use a very tiny flat screwdriver, and I went to push on the side. You see I did damage it a little bit. You really need to push on this side, not inside but outside with some force. You will see it will pop up a little bit, and continue to push to pry it up, and then just pop it up. It's not difficult, but it will damage the side of it. So maybe you can see it's not exactly round here. It would damage the side. Again, do not go on inside, because inside you have a rubber flexible seal, so you will damage it. Go outside where it's metal, and when you finish, when you remove it, and it will look dent a little bit, just grab your pliers, and you need a little bit of skill. Just bend the lip here back in place to look round again. This one, it's almost round, not perfect, but you need to round it so it's sealed properly. The most difficult part, once you remove the seals on both sides, is to clean inside. You see it has kind of a plastic cage for the bearings. Perhaps you can use a solvent or alcohol, like medicinal alcohol from a pharmacy, but it's important to clean it very well inside to remove old grease, whatever dust is in there, whatever grit is in there, and then give it a spin. Just make sure it spins very nicely, without friction, without too much noise. Hopefully it's not too worn. When you do so, when you finished, make sure you dry it perfectly, no water in there. I'm using, but it's up to you, any bearing grease. I like a synthetic bearing grease. It has an NLGI. It's very sticky. It's important not to fully pack it with grease. If you put completely fill on both sides with grease, it will heat up, it will wear very fast, because it cannot dissipate the heat. So it's important not to fully pack it with grease. Think about, you also need to put the seal back in place. Try to not fill more than half of the volume with grease, no more than half on both sides, and always leave a little bit of space, but put grease on both sides, especially when you cannot order a new one for whatever reason. It's a rare bearing. It's so much better to use an original bearing instead of a cheap Chinese one, which is going to fail in few weeks or few months. This should be enough grease. You see, you can still see the ball bearings inside, so it's not fully packed. And I did push the grease into the balls. I did put a little bit on the other side. I just grab the seals. Usually that's the same seal on both sides. Just press on it all around, make sure it's fully seated. The other side. It doesn't matter if it has grease on the seal. Actually, I think it's even better. It will seal a little bit better. Try not to get too much grease on the pulley itself. And also try to spin it a few times before you install it on the car. It should feel like a resistance, but a very smooth resistance. That will just spread a little bit the grease through the balls before it starts spinning fast as it's sitting inside the car. So it already gets that grease on the balls. I can tell that this thing spins pretty much like a new pulley. It has that very smooth resistance to it.